Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for Mental Health When You're Safer at Home. This session talks about stress, anxiety, and depression. Oh my, if you're like me, you're having trouble managing your time, you're having trouble managing your kids, you're having trouble managing your work. This is a very difficult time, so we're all under a lot of stress, and this session talks specifically about how do you know when your stress is getting a little bit too much, and maybe you're starting to move into those mental illnesses like anxiety and depression. Most people won't develop things like that through this, but some people might. So we just want to make sure that you're aware and you know what to look for, you know when to seek help, and how can we make the best of it. This is session 1, and our objectives today are simple. We're going to talk about how to manage stress, anxiety, and depression, and talk about strategies to manage them all. Most people have heard of the fight or flight response. Let's pretend you're walking to the bathroom in the middle of the night. The hallway is dark and you're still mostly sleeping. All of a sudden, a dark figure pops out of the doorway and shouts, "Boo!" In a millisecond, hormones flood your body, causing simultaneous reactions and sensations from head to toe. Your hands fly up to your face, you scream, your pupils dilate, your immune system is suppressed, your digestion shuts down. Blood rushes to your muscles and your body tenses, posed for quick action. You're no longer half asleep, but wide awake, adrenaline pumping through your veins. Your heart is racing and you can't think clearly, but your brain is taking in vivid sensate information such as colors, sounds, and smells. If you've had an experience like this, I would like to extend my congratulations. Your sympathetic nervous system is working just as it's supposed to be. The problem with our fight or flight system is that it can't really tell the difference between actual danger and stress. And let's face it, we're under stress all the time, whether we flip on the news or our boss says we need to talk. That fight or flight system gets activated. When it's activated too much, we begin to experience chronic stress and then health problems that are related to it. We have trouble sleeping because our body is so activated and jittery. We have digestion problems, muscle tension, illnesses. There are all sorts of problems that come along with chronic stress. And then, to top it off, chronic stress can sometimes lead to mental illness. So again, I'm not saying that just because we're going through a difficult time that everybody's going to develop anxiety or depression. I'm just saying it's important to pay attention to your stress levels and manage those so that you don't put yourself under chronic stress and that you don't potentially develop something like anxiety or depression. So I talked a little bit about how our overactive fight or flight system creates chronic stress. When we're under chronic stress, sometimes it can cause anxiety and depression. Then if you add in poor diet, lack of sleep, genetic predisposition, lack of vitamins and nutrients, and other factors, those things can increase your risk. But the good news is that not everybody will develop anxiety or depression. In fact, most people don't. But if you feel like maybe this pandemic is taking more of a toll on you than it is others around you, you may want to consider calling EAP before it gets worse, because that's what we're there for. So this is a list of symptoms of anxiety and depression. Do you experience these symptoms more than a few weeks? Has it been chronic for you? Is it difficult for you to snap out of it or to change your mood when you change your environment or the people you're around? If these symptoms become chronic and difficult for you to manage, then maybe it's time for you to call EAP. Another thing to mention is that you don't need to have every single one of these symptoms for it to be a problem. If you have a few of these symptoms, several of these symptoms, but they're causing distress or making life unmanageable for you, then again, it might be time to seek help. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, all right, I'm not at the anxiety and depression stage yet, but I could see myself getting there. What do I need to do to stay healthy? I'm glad you asked. I know you've heard this before, but get outside and exercise. Exercise is amazing, not only for your body, toning muscle, burning fat, but also for your brain. It keeps your brain active and healthy. There are so many benefits to being outside. Research shows that being outside lowers anxiety, it lowers stress, it increases feelings of calm. Getting sunshine increases your vitamin D, which is essential for survival and warding off anxiety and depression. Not to mention when you're outside, it's a little bit easier to be present. So paying attention to what do you hear? Do you hear the birds singing? Do you hear the breeze rustling in the leaves? What colors do you see? Bright blues in the sky, white clouds, green leaves. What do you smell? Can you smell that fresh, clean air or maybe some humidity in the air? Those are all ways to be present, to be grounded, to get great exercise, to get good oxygen to your brain. There's so many benefits to exercise, and especially exercising outside in clean air. Ugh, amazing. A healthy diet is also really important. Our body is a biochemical machine, and if we're missing essential vitamins and nutrients, then we're not going to be functioning at our best. And often that means anxiety, depression, sleeplessness. So a lot of people think that they need to go right to an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety medication. But that's usually not the case. Sometimes just taking a good look at your diet and increasing consumption of vitamins and nutrients can really help. And actually, there are some supplements that are especially helpful for mood and anxiety. And so if you're interested in those, talk to your doctor or another naturopathic practitioner who can make some good recommendations for you. The final point I want to make is the importance of social connection. And I know during a time of social isolation, it's just as important than ever. Research finds that socially active individuals report above average happiness, lower levels of depression and anxiety, and higher resiliency. But on the flip side, people who are not socially active are more hostile, they're socially anxious, they're jealous, they have low interpersonal trust and low self-esteem. And it doesn't matter how large your social network is. It really matters about the quality of those relationships. So it's more important to have one or two really close friends than it is to have 1,000 Facebook friends who, let's face it, they're not really friends, are they? So making sure you're fostering those healthy relationships, those intimate connections, staying connected to your people, whether it's through FaceTime, Zoom, social media, even social distancing, drive-bys. I've heard of people doing lunch in parking lots and things like that. So do what you need to do to stay connected. Thank you so much for joining me for Mental Health When You're Safer at Home, Stress, Anxiety, and Depression. I hope you learned a few things or maybe were reminded of a few things, and I hope that you will be safe and well, and we'll talk soon.